that feel good? Did you feel loved? Some of you did. Some of you still got to open up a little more because, you have to give yourself permission, first and foremost. Give yourself permission to love and be loved. Because what we know is God is all there is. There's nothing else. Doesn't matter what name you call it. Spirit, infinite intelligence, unconditional love, unlimited creativity, whatever you call it, it's all there is. It's the essence and vibrancy of life. And so if we realize that we live, move, and have our being in this essence and energy of what we call God, it's always there. We have to be open to it. We have to welcome it and say, I'm here, I'm ready. Say it. I'm here, I'm ready. Now that I got. Good job, good job. We're here, we're ready to be the vessel and vehicle, to be the expressions of love. You see, in religious science, Ernest Holmes teaches that God is love and God is law. Let me take the law first. The law is impersonal, plays no favorites. It's mechanical. It just responds. It's the law. The law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, the law of abundance, the law of love. Now let me tell you about love. When God says God is love, that's the personal aspect. It's the self-givingness of spirit. The greatest gift that life, God, joy could give us is that we could experience its gifts. We could be the outpicturing of that expression. Today, I'm going to read you some poetry. And it's not the poetry that you'll get in those Hallmark cards. That's for next Sunday. But this is the poetry from a beautiful book that was shared to me by some dear friends. Love Poems from God. And there are poems from the mystics throughout the ages. The mystics who know the experience of touching the greater experience. We're all everyday mystics. Is there anybody here who has not had a mystical experience? We've all had mystical experiences, so we're all mystics in some sense. These are the people that have dedicated their life to this. I was sitting on the couch yesterday reading some of these love poems to Kirk, and he said, "Oh, will you just read poetry to me all day?" And I said, "Yes, right after I get the bonbons and the palm leaf." But that's the effect they have. They're beautiful. And so the first, and I've taken segments of the poems because they're really long and deep and beautiful, and you could take pieces of them and eat them, and they're so good, and live them, and they're so wonderful. And this first one, of course, I love the Sufi mystics from the 13th century. This comes from Hafez. And he says, God revealed the sublime truth when he sang, I am made whole by your life. I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me. That's a big thought. Each soul completes me because we are the way that God, Spirit, knows itself. We're the way, the expression of the all that is. When we learn to give ourselves permission, because we alone have the authority to give ourselves the permission to be both loving and loved. And if we know God is love and God is all there is, and we are made in the image and likeness of God, then we are made to be loving. Do you get it? So just say, I am made to be loving. And I'm made to be loved. Yes, it's not a one-way street. It's a beautiful infinity symbol. Ever going and growing. You ask anyone that's had a near-death experience, they're not afraid to die anymore. They know, number one, there is no death. And they know that it's just an opening to more love, more light, more goodness. So if we know that God is all there is and God is love, and we are made in the image and likeness of God, that we're here to be loving, love is also, as Ernest Holmes says, a scientific fact. It's a law. It's the law of love. The fact that it is the only final security. We can think that we can get things here and be secure, but Anything that's not God, like love and peace and truth, is transitory. God is real and love is real. So love is the final security. So if we want to be secure in our life, how many of you want to be secure? I mean, that's kind of a human trait, isn't it? We want to be secure, and we go out trying to get things to make us secure, when actually the only real security, which these mystics knew, is our connection to God. That's the only thing that is really the final security. And also love, well, as Ernest Holmes says, masters everything, but he also said love is a healing power. It heals. We know. Have you ever just been feeling really sick, like not feeling so good, and then you get a call or something, somebody's really nice to you, and you all of a sudden go, oh, I don't feel so bad anymore. It has a way to heal. It has a way to lift us up. Love has a natural buoyancy. It does. It lifts us up. There is a contagion of negativity in the world right now. We feel it because our ego taps into that and gets small. But there's a natural buoyancy that teaches us that life is always conspiring for our good. There's never a time when God or spirit or life is conspiring against us. It's always for us. You may say, oh yeah, but look at those people over there. They're conspiring against our good. There's a children's book, and I can't remember the name of it, but it touched me it's something about the sun, but it talks about how we may look at people as being mean and ornery and difficult, and we don't realize that when they were on the other side, they chose to come down to teach life a lesson, and they took the hardest role there is, and that's the role to be maybe difficult, contrary, maybe evil. We put in those using life in the wrong way, when they're really here to teach us about compassion, about understanding, and expanding our life to include more people, more things. You may say, well, yeah, right. Life is conspiring for my good. Do you know the tragedy and crisis I've had in my life? But what happens from tragedy? What happens from crisis? It's meant to open us up that we can expand and know life beyond what we see right in front of us and see the possibilities and know a greater truth. These are the things we teach. Not all religions teach that life is good and for us, that we are born out of love. Not all religions teach that. But Meister Eckhart, one of the beautiful, also a 13th century Catholic mystic, said, it is a lie, any talk of God that doesn't bring you comfort. It is a lie, any talk of God that doesn't bring you comfort. Because that's what real love is. That's what life really is. It's the love that comes. Now, this always has made me feel sad, this quote by Mother Teresa, because it's one of those things that wakes me up. Mother Teresa, of course, has worked in the poorest of areas, in the sickest of areas. She's seen poverty and pain and illness and sickness. Yet she says, there is in this world more hunger for love and appreciation than there is for bread. There is in this world more hunger for love and appreciation than there is for bread. We are born to be loved and loving. That's what we're made of. And when we don't fulfill that purpose, when we don't do that work, then there's something that just our life force dwindles. We don't feel as alive because I'll tell you what, we may think of love as just sweet and soft, but love is vibrant, it's colorful, it's powerful, it's awake. That's what I'm talking about. It's that energy. So when we don't live our purpose, which I believe is to love, then we suffer. We feel it. Now, if you think about that, if we're born to be loved and loving, what's going on here? Well, Hafez says, our separation from God, from love, is the hardest work we will ever do in the world. Our separation, stepping back, not being open and willing to be loved or loving, is the hardest work we'll ever do. Then why are some of us working so darn hard? To separate ourselves from what's already there? Well, I'll tell you what, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, we're afraid. There's this contagious energy of fear in this world that keeps us afraid, just afraid. And as Marianne Williamson said, our biggest fear is not of the darkness that we might see in the news and around us, these little conglomerates. Our biggest fear is a fear of our light, our potential, our greatness that always wants to expand and grow. Our biggest fear is that because, oh my gosh, once I let that light out, then think of the responsibility I'm going to have to hold if I share that light, or think I'll make myself better than other people, or I'll not be in the herd anymore, I'll not be part of the group. Our biggest fear is the light we hold inside. We have to stop being afraid of ourselves, of life, of other people. We have to stop being afraid. And of course, the other reason that we don't love so much is because, who wrote that song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places? Isn't that like a country western song or something? Wham, 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 looking for love in all the wrong places. We're doing that. But it's not because it's the wrong people. We're looking for love outside of ourselves because it seems much easier. It's vulnerable as a human being to be empathetic and caring and vulnerable because our egos can get hurt. We can get hurt, right? When we give ourselves up. But if we're not learning to be loved, to be loving, we have to look for the love within us. We have to connect with that first and foremost because we can't give what we don't have. So that's the first place we've got to look. If we forget to do that, we're closing ourselves off from the possibility of so much goodness. Do you believe that right now you're supplied with every single thing you need? There's a correct answer to this. This isn't really a yes or no question. It's a yes question, so I'm going to ask it once again. Do you believe right now you're supplied with everything you need? Yes. I did not say everything you want. That's the difference. Immediately we go to what we want. We're supplied with everything we need right now because life is conspiring for our good. The problem is we say that there is only one. There's one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. Now, there's only one. But some of us are really, 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 really lousy at math. And we have to hone our skills. Because instead of the oneness, we do something very different. And I'm going to share a little story. And this is from one of the love poems from Hafez. And he says that, he tells a story. There once was a group of really good thieves. And they stole a rare diamond that was big as 2 goose eggs. And this diamond could have bought 3,000 thoroughbred horses and 3,000 acres of the most fertile soil in Shiraz. Wow, it was beautiful. So that night, these thieves took this beautiful diamond, and they celebrated, and they got drunk. And because of the effects of the liquor and their mistrust of each other, they started separating themselves, and they decided they would break this diamond into pieces so they could each have a piece. Thus, it was no longer priceless. Hafez goes on to say, and almost everyone is lousy at math and does that to God. Tries to dissect the indivisible one by thinking and saying, oh, this is my beloved that looks this way and acts this way. This is my beloved. How does that moron over there think they are one with God? Everybody's really quiet on that one. Because we do that. We separate ourselves, you and I, without any question, need to increase our respect, our kindness, our love for things that are different. We need to grow in that. We need to grow in accepting diversity, grow in understanding. We don't have to be part of something that we don't want to be part of. We have, again, authority over that, but the love and respect. Boy, I need more compassion. That is teaching me I need to be more compassionate. Wow, that's teaching me I need to be more loving. I need to be kinder because that's not behavior I want to act. Thank you for showing me what I don't want in my life. We need to accept that and move into that energy. Now, I know I mentioned that crisis and trauma and pain and hurt and loss in our life can keep us thinking, oh, I'm not loved. I'm not loving. Well, I want to share a story with you, again from my beautiful love poems from God. I'm in a new Sufi mystic this week. I'm so excited. I shared that with someone and they went, huh? I said, I'm so excited this week. I found a new Sufi mystic. And it's like, yeah, whatever floats your boat. This Sufi mystic is not a 13th century mystic like Rumi and Hafez, my favorites. This is an 8th century Sufi mystic who happens to be a female. And she was not only an Islamic female saint, but a Sufi mystic. And her name is Rabia. And she was born 500 years before Rumi, yet she had great, great, great influence on his writing, his work, and his life. Let me tell you a little bit about Rabia. She was born, she was the 4th daughter in a very impoverished family that lived in the area that is now Iraq. And her parents died when she was very young. And so she went out alone on the streets wandering homeless, and she was stolen and sold into slavery. But because of her remarkable beauty, a very famous brothel bought her. And they used her up. They abused her physically and sexually for a long time. But that didn't stop her. I want to share what she said about that experience. She said, my eye kept telling me something is missing from all I see. That's something we should learn. There's more to this, but my eye kept telling me there's something missing here. In all this pain and abuse, there's something missing here. So I went in search of the cure. And the cure for me was God's beauty. And the remedy for me was love. With all that in her life, with all the things going on, that abuse, the poverty, the abuse, the misuse, all of that, she knew there was something more. And I'll tell you, for us, that's real love, when we can know amidst all the problems in our life that we might say tragedy, crisis, whatever it is, are just an opportunity for us to wake up, our soul to wake up to something more. When our ego is just distressing over all that is wrong, our soul knows there is something more that wants us to come forth. And Kirk and Gretchen, will you come and help me with this next part? Because this is an experience, this real love that I'm talking about is an experience for us. It's a vibration. It's the buoyancy that lifts us up out of those tragedies and crises that really want us to grow, can give us a new perspective, a new look, and a new understanding. And I'm going to read this poem from Rabia, and it acts like love. And it starts out and it says, it acts like love, music. It reaches toward the face, touches it, and tries to let you know God's promise that all will be okay. So I'm going to invite you just to unravel yourself. Remembering right here that we live, move, and have our being in a vibration of love. We must give ourselves permission. I'm held in love, held in peace. God is holding me. It acts like love, music. With every breath, it reaches toward the face, every step, touches it, and tries to let you know God's promise. All will be okay. All will be okay. Life is working for us, not against us. Love heals. It acts like love, music, and tells the feet and tells the feet, you do not have to be so burdened. Let go. You do not have to be so burdened. Let go. Move in the flow, the grace of love, of peace. Surrender. My body is covered with wounds this world made. My body is covered with wounds that this world made. But I still long to kiss God. I still long to kiss God. Even when God said, could you kiss the hand that caused each scar? Could you kiss the hand that caused each scar? For you will not find me until you do. You will not find me until you do.
God is holding me.
It does that, music. It does that.
With every breath,
it helps us
God is holding
to forgive.
me. God is holding me.
And as we surrender, let go, and open into this moment, the moment where God is, life is in its fullness. I know there's a collective consciousness together right here and now that we say, I am here to give and share love and light, to make this world a better, brighter place, to be the buoyancy that lifts up and not confines or depresses. I know that I still believe in my oneness with the all that is. That I say to every soul I meet, I say, love me, love me. I deserve to be loved because I am made in the image and likeness of God, of good, of creativity, of peace, of harmony, of joy. I may forget it sometimes, but that's the truth of who I am. And as I tap into that, knowing the truth of who I really am, as I remember and wake up from my sleepwalking, as I wake up from that and remember that I am made in the image and likeness of love and I deserve to be loved, I speak from that place. As I say, I love you.
God is holding me.
Let go.
God is holding me.
Be lifted.
God is holding
Be loved.
me.
And know the divine perfection that you are. Take a nice deep breath and just open by saying, ah, ah. And as we come back together in this beautiful perfection of the all that is, I just invite us to remember the truth of who we are, the truth of life. And as we leave today, to remember that we have a responsibility, a willingness to spread the light that we are. And when we feel that we've forgotten, to seek it out, because we are here for each other. Mother Teresa also said, if we find no peace, if we find no love, it's because we have forgotten we belong to each other. We're in this together. Are you part of the group?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you all for being here and joining in spiritual community at InSpirit Center, because love is the answer, whatever the question. I believe bless each and every one of you. And so it is.